What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Universe Wrestling Podcast. It's your boy Keith. You read the title. You know why we're here. Survivor Series, big return weekend. Everybody's only talking about the one of them, though, that I already talked about. Go check that one out. But we also had the return of the Viper, Randy Orton. I, for one, was super psyched to see that. I really thought when he first went out, there was all the reports where his dad was talking about, like, he may never wrestle again and all this other kind of stuff. I'm stoked that wasn't the case. I'm so glad he's back. I haven't always loved Randy Orton, but his run before he went away, him and Riddle, he just looked like he was having so much fun, and I enjoyed the hell out of watching him. So, kind of jumping off of that, now that he's back, I'm going to talk today about those top 5 opponents for Randy now that he's back. Now, these aren't in any kind of order of like which one I want to see the most versus least or anything like that. Just the 5 kind of things that are the most likely feuds for him, in my mind at least anyway. Starting out, just get the obvious out of the way, and it's kind of a cop-out because it's more than just one, but it's the Bloodline, Jimmy, Solo, or Roman. Obvious history there. They're literally the ones that wrote him off and beat him up to get him out for this long. I feel like I honestly, the most out of it, that's the most obvious, the Bloodline. Of the 3 really that are in the Bloodline, minus Paul Heyman, the most obvious one that I think they're going to end up probably doing is him and Roman, to give that kind of stopgap feud between, now and maybe they'll have it at the Rumble. I don't really think we're building anything else quite yet, but Randy's back. He's going to go over, he's going to be, it writes itself. So he won't win. Spoiler alert. But I think we see Randy Roman as the stopgap in between at Rumble before we get back to Cody and everything else. I honestly, though, out of all 3 of them, the most I would really like to see him in Solo feud, and maybe that's the build-up to get us to the Rumble match. I don't know. I feel like the Rumble's further away than it is, and it's really not. So maybe there's not time for that. But this is less of a Randy thing. I want to see him in Solo feud because I want more Solo feuding on my screen. Like, I don't like how I understand it's all part of the story and we got to give it time and we got to but Solo is awesome. And I don't like that he's just kind of this like lackey in the Bloodline. I think having a feud between him and Randy that Solo ends up coming out on top on again before we get to the more with Roman and everything else with Randy would be awesome. It'd be a huge rub for Solo. But we'll see what happens. One of the 3 in the Bloodline, if not all 3, are an absolute, probably the top prospect for an opponent for Randy as far as the company is concerned. Other ones I'm interested in, just kind of moving down my list here. LA Knight. Now, this one, the toughest thing about kind of making this list up was really just like thinking of reasoning for these feuds. Obviously, like I said, the Bloodline one writes itself. There's a feud built in to it. LA Knight, I think I just want to see that match because I love LA Knight so much. I also feel like they would have a great time with promos. The only thing I have against this that I don't think it's going to happen for is that I feel like Randy came back as a face and they're going to keep him as a face, which is fine. But face with LA Knight wouldn't really work so well because to me, the feud would build off of just being like Randy's back. He attacks LA Knight. Like Randy is a heel. Because then he goes after LA Knight and just be like, you're creating the buzz while I was gone. Now I'm back. Get back in your place where you belong, and then have the feud that way. Which I think would be really great. I think they would work really well together in the ring, kind of like similar styles, but different enough. So I think that would be awesome to see. Plus, I mean, I just want to see LA Knight more feuds because I want to see him promo off with everybody. But that's beside the point. Keeping in, going back to the whole kind of storyline piece with everything, I would want to see him, a third kind of pick here of things, him and Damian Priest, Randy and Priest. He came back in this whole storyline, going against Judgment Day with WarGames and all. Wasn't anything too crazy interaction-wise, like anything specific that happened like in the match that it's like, oh, well, because of that, they got to do it. But I mean, he's already kind of built in that he was going against them anyway, and it was got unsettled business rather with the Bloodline first and everything, and that makes sense. But it's another one that I just think him and Priest would really mesh and work well together in the ring, and I just want to see them feud. This is another tough one. Like, I don't really know what the build is other than just like, hey, we fought at WarGames already. Like I said, there was nothing really specific I can think of that happened that would be like, you did this to me, I need to get you for that. From really one end or the other. Aside from, well, no, I mean, I guess it really builds off of, he distracted Rhea from giving him the briefcase to cash in. So then, yeah, there's your feud. I'm an idiot. I don't know why I didn't think of that before there. So yeah, that's your feud. I mean, Randy finally came, stopped Rhea from letting Priest cash in his Money in the Bank in the middle of the WarGames match. Boom, you have your feud. Not anything too great to stand on, but it's just a stopgap one, just to give Randy something to do. And like I said, I just want to see those two feud. I think it'd be great. And then my last two, I'm just going to put them both in here together because they both kind of fall in the same category. It's Drew McIntyre and it's Sheamus. They're my 4 and 5 picks for best opponents that I want to see Randy with now that he's back. Honestly, I don't have a storyline for either one of those two as to why either one of them would feud with Randy. Well, I shouldn't say neither one. I don't have too much of one for Drew, other than a similar thing. Drew can pull a similar thing, like I was saying, that Randy would pull on LA Knight. Like Drew kind of being like, hey, I was the big one. I was toeing the line while you went away, and now you're back. Like, get back in your place. I'm the one on top now, which would be good. It'd be a solid. I mean, it's not the best thing to stand on, but it would just still be a solid feud. I mean, I know we've seen Drew and Randy go at it in the past, but it's just the styles, man. I just want to see, I just want those hard hitting clashes. Like, Randy to me is such a unique wrestler in terms of his style because he's not just like a brawler, but he's like not like a flippy dippy dude either. He's just like old school. And I think like having like a bruiser like Drew and that, or a bruiser like Sheamus and him going at it is great. So the Drew story, one that has like a kind of a story. Sheamus, I also feel like the story that would have in that one would kind of be, they're both, I know none of us want to really admit it, but like Sheamus and Randy are both probably in their last runs right now. They're both getting up there. Randy especially definitely can't keep going the same way that he's been going. I'm honestly surprised he hit any RKOs in WarGames, because like that was a big thing, was his back. Sheamus, I know, he had like neck issues for a while. He's been off TV for a while. This would be to me a good face versus face one, because you have Sheamus finally kind of like come back, show his face again, and just be like, listen, man, just saying basically what I just said there. Like, listen, we're both getting to the end of this year. We both know that we are. Let's go out on top. Let's find out which one of us is better, kind of once and for all here. We've had some bruises in the past. Let's do it again, and just let them have a couple bangers. Three of them. Whoever wins the rubber match takes it all. I know people have other plans. They want Sheamus to win the Intercontinental so that he gets all of them and everything, and that's great. But I love Sheamus. I love Randy. I would love to see them both go at it. I think there's a story built in there, like I said, of just the two old vets going at it one last time. But yeah, they're my main 5. I had some other options too. This was tough to kind of get down to even just 5. I had a whole like list going on here. I was thinking about like Finn Balor or Grayson Waller, Dragunov. I would love Ilya Dragunov to come up. I want to see those two fight eventually, but I don't think that's going to really be in the cards. Gunther as well. And any of those could happen too. I mean, anything can really happen in the World Wrestling Federation. But yeah, I don't know. That's who I think that's my top 5 that I want to see him feud with now that he's back. What do you think? Let us know. And you know where to find me. I'm on X at Keith of the Ring. I'm on Instagram at _Keith of the Ring. And I'm on TikTok at Keith of the Ring. And also you can find me here all the time on the UWPod. Later.